sorry.
There you go.
It decided to do an update.
All right, so
All
we should
right,
be back.
so we are recorded and live now, so you guys can reconvene into open session now.
Okay, so I think we have to do that motion again. The one
Okay.
that you did in closed session.
All right, we need a motion to reconvene into open session.
I so move.
Karen, second?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, and now we need a motion to consider an employee medical leave of absence request for up to 120 hours. Does someone want to make that motion?
I so move.
Who
I'll
was
second
that? Can you tell me who made the motion and who
Carol.
seconded it? Carol?
Yes.
And the second was?
Jill.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Discussion of OCPL pandemic preparedness and reopening plan.
So I'm sure that most of you know that things have changed in the last 24 hours. I'm not quite sure what that looks like. So for now, I'm just going off of the plan that I sent the link to. So basically what I did is when we were planning it, before we shut down, we had created a plan of how we were going to provide service. If we were just going to provide service with some extra precautions in place, if we were going to have to ever go to the point where we provided limited service, or we were going to have to go to the point where we closed. Obviously, we skipped that middle level space and we just closed. So this plan is taking it backwards. So it's going back to providing limited service and then going back to providing as much service as we can with additional precautions in place. I worked on this in conjunction with some of the City Hall staff, because obviously we have to talk about how we can reopen things to the Civic Center, not just for the library. So that's what the plan is as it's drafted right now. Again, when I drafted the plan, which was on Monday, or was over the weekend, I still had that the facilities would remain closed if the school district, if the Oak Creek Franklin School District remains closed, or social gathering guidelines are discouraged of gatherings of less than 50 people. And then also upon the advice of the City of Oak Creek Health Department, upon order from the City of Oak Creek, or when a minimum of 4 healthy personnel, including at least 1 full-time staff member, is available to staff the library. So then we included just some employee guidelines that were already in place. Don't come to work when you're sick. If someone you know is sick, don't come to work, let us know. If you travel, please let your manager and HR know whether or not you should be coming back. While you're at work, you're still expected to social distance. And then staff should not be gathering in spaces even within the building. And then if possible, staff can still work from home with approval from their manager. So level 1 response, buildings closed to the public. We already did that. So right now we're at the level 2 responses, which is the opening for business with limited services. So again, some of these are library specific, some of them are for the whole Civic Center. And again, these are just ideas. They have not been presented. They've been shared with the city administrator, but they haven't been presented to the council. It's just ideas. But since we met first, I thought it was important that you guys hear them and give your feedback if you have any. So one of our ideas is to keep the east and west entrances closed to help guide traffic. So they would have to enter the Civic Center from the north or the south. And then beyond that, we would also designate entrance doors and exit doors to avoid people passing in the hallway, turn off the public vending machines, close the public restrooms. When possible, still encourage online payments. And then we have if we're exchanging paper money or coins, don't do a hand-to-hand transaction, set it on the counter and then pick it up. One of the ideas one of the things we talked about is possibly standardizing the front counter and the lobby, the front counter hours and the library hours, because we're trying to keep people from gathering in the lobby. They've already taken the furniture out of the lobby. But if the library is open when City Hall isn't, or vice versa, people might just hang out there. Also, that would allow us to have cleaning staff available. And again, we don't know what that reduction in hours looks like. It's just an idea of maybe it's something to consider. Library specific. So again, based on what comes down the pike and where we're at, I've been working with the library staff. We have a couple of different ideas. We started curbside on May 4th. It's been very successful. The first thing that we did was we called all of the people who had holds on the shelf when we closed and asked them if they wanted to come pick them up. And then we started taking curbside requests from people who had filled out a form. And so far that's been really good. It was really busy for last week. It started to slow down with the requests that we're getting, but that's been the trend through all the Milwaukee Milwaukee County libraries from what we've been talking about. So one of the ideas that we had is that we can continue to just provide that curbside service, but maybe we can expand it. Again, not quite sure what that expansion looks like. But for example, if we were going to have a program, maybe we provide the programs, excuse me, maybe we provide, like, say, a craft program. You can come pick up your craft supplies, and then we schedule a virtual meeting where they can all participate to do the craft. So that's one option. Another option would be the building, but to close the stacks for browsing. So they would only be able to come in and go to the first floor desk and pick up holds. Okay, that would be contingent on Milwaukee County as a system, turning the holds function back on in the catalog. It's currently turned off and is going to remain turned off until we can resume delivery between libraries. Now, we opened up the book drop when we started curbside. We're quarantining all books for 72 hours before we check them in. So all of these ideas, we would continue to do that, and we would ask people to only return books via the book drop. That would allow us to make sure that the materials stay quarantined. And that's something, again, that all the Milwaukee libraries have agreed to do, so that once delivery starts, we know that at least everything has sat for 72 hours. Encourage online payment of fines. And then one of the things that we've already decided to do is the Acorn went to press on Monday. And so we had to decide what our summer programs looked like. So we've moved all of our summer programs through the month of June to an online, either to a virtual environment. So either through Zoom or through a video recording of some sort of Facebook Live. We're going to continue with the story times. And then we're also going to, for now, make all of the library programs be by registration only. That way we can, if we do have to make changes, we can contact those people much more readily to make that happen. And then, of course, hopefully eventually we'll get to the open for business with additional precautions in place. And those are things like encouraging the staff to wear a mask. And some of these would also happen during this level 2 response of encouraging the staff to wear a mask, make sure that, if we can prop a door open, so we're not touching the doors all the time, prop those open, spray down and wipe down the tables and all of the high touch points as frequently as we can. Remove half the chairs so that we can properly social distance, reduce the number of people that can go in a study room. Right before we shut down, we closed down half the public computers, so you weren't sitting right next to each other, keeping the toys out of the kids department, turning off the J-Touch and the light bright, continuing to prohibit staff to have meetings in-house as well as externally. And then also try to do as many board and commission meetings virtually as we can. And then one of the ones that I thought of is remove all communal pens. I know that's a little thing, but the day we closed, someone had mentioned to me, well, I think we should remove all the golf pencils, which I hadn't thought about. And I was like, really? And then when I went to remove the golf pencils, I removed, there were 5 different places I removed golf pencils. And at 3 of the 5, there was a person that had the golf pencil in their mouth. So we're looking for low cost pen options so that once you use the pen, it's yours to keep.
Gave me goosebumps.
So I thought I would add some levity to the situation.
Yes, thank you.
Another thing that we're talking about is putting sneeze guards at the public service desks, both for the library public service desks and the civic center. So I've been working with, there's a couple of different options. DPW made some sneeze guards for when the election happened. And they're just, it's some 2x4s with a piece of plexiglass, you know, so we can go as simple as that, or, you know, I have a feeling that this is going to be more of a long-term solution. So I think that we're probably going to have to be, I'm working with some people to try to come up with ideas of how we can incorporate a sneeze guard into the desks and make it look professional and nice, and what that would cost. So I'll have more info. Hopefully that won't have to happen until our June meeting. And so I should have more information and a better idea of what it looks like then. If we open before then, you know, the DPW has the temporary sneeze guards that we can put in. I also have been working with, you know, there's some HVAC guidelines about how to recirculate, get the fresh air in, and do ionization to filter the air and filter the air particles. So that's what we've been working on. So like I said, we have a lot of ideas. We just have to figure out what's feasible and what that looks like in practice. So any questions? Oh, one of the other things I wanted to add is, this is the staff report too, but the state of Wisconsin purchased an online summer reading program software. So the summer reading program challenge is going to be completely virtual. And then as part of that, we also we're not going to do any physical prizes because we don't know at what juncture we're going to be able to get them to the participants. So we're working on different recognition ideas. You know, how can we decorate the library with the first name, last initial of people who have completed? Can we set a goal? So we're working on options there too. Okay, I did a lot of talking. So any other questions?
I think you've done an amazing job at covering all the bases. You seem to be very thorough in what you're doing as far as protecting people and yourselves.
Well, thank you.
I agree. And I read it once and then I read it again just to see if there was anything that you may have forgotten. And I can't see anything that isn't covered. Again, a very good job.
Well, thank you. And we don't need a motion or anything because, like I said, it was just a discussion.
Right.
Of going over the ideas, and obviously I'll keep the board informed by email. Change and go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so nothing else, Jill?
Nope.
Items for future agendas?
Oh, wait. Do you want me to go into the, sorry,
budget.
let
Yes.
me do the one other thing. So I
Okay.
basically went over most of what was in the monthly staff report. Again, one of the things that I wanted to highlight is the staff has been doing a weekly version of the library's podcast. So instead of being a 30-minute show, they're like 7 to 10 minutes. If you haven't gone and listened to them, they're very cute. I highly recommend them. They did a really nice job, and they've been doing a really nice job recording them from their house. So I highly encourage you to, if you have 10 minutes, go listen to the Not Your Mother's Library podcast online. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about was for the budget. So because of because everything's been shut down, there is was brought to our attention that there is most likely going to be a budget shortfall a budget gap in 2020. And so we were all asked to bring ideas to all of the department managers were asked to bring ideas to the city administrator of ways to that we could reduce our 2020 budget. And so if you recall, in March, right before this all happened, one of our part-time children's librarians resigned. And so in looking at our budget, there's not a lot of wiggle room. And so the one thing that I'm recommending is that we not replace that person until 2021. We'll put it back in the 2021 budget, but we're fortunate that right now we did get the grant for that WACU intern who was scheduled to start in June. Even if we don't open, they're looking at possible ways that the person couldn't work virtually. So the children's department will have another staff member through September. And then the rest of the staff will just have to work together to help the children's department with staffing through the end of the year. But it seems it's the largest contribution that we can make without, severely.
We don't have,
Right.
we don't have a lot.
There's not a lot to do. We don't have a cushion.
No.
So that's
Yeah,
all I
there's-
want to point out with the budget.
Okay,
Jill, for some of these expenses, if you do have to like install more permanent sneeze guards or something like that, or some of these, cleaning supplies, is that going to actually go against the library's budget, or will the city be providing money to the library to cover some of these extra infrastructure type things as a result of, all these extra precautions?
It hasn't been overtly stated, but as of right now, anything that we are purchasing that's related directly to combating this crisis, we're actually coding into a specific line item that is not the libraries. So all city departments are using that line item.
That's good.
good.
So that's not to say that they're not going to come back and break it out by department, because they can clearly see which departments did what. But as of right now, it's all going into a general line item for the city.
Good.
I'm sorry, but I had one other thing that I wanted to ask. I got an email from Steve Heiser earlier this week that there is opening. There's an opening on the MCFLS board. And every time there's an opening on the MCFLS board, Steve reaches out because he's really looking for some representation from the southern suburbs. So if you or anyone you know is interested in serving on the MCFLS board, let me know.
We'll get right on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm done, Sharon.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion to adjourn? I will.
Second.
Carol, was that you?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Very good.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you all.